coming to get you, Barbara.
Hello and welcome to Henry Willard Movie Reviews and the latest horror season and so continuing our journey through horror cinema, I thought we'd take a look at one of the few horror films that Terry really rates.
Again, we'll see what happens.
With the Adrian Lyne film Jacob's Ladder.
That's the thing, it's more than a horror movie. It's a transcendental...
Transcendental horror.
Yes.
Now that's pretentious.
You'll see, it's not just a straight horror.
But yeah, I don't really know a lot about. I know that there's like a PTSD element, like they're a war veteran or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's got Tim Robbins in it.
And it's directed by the guy who did Flashdance, so
Yes.
mark of quality right there.
And Fatal Attraction as well.
And Fatal Attraction, indeed.
We're talking about Tim Robbins with the Shawshank Redemption ending being remade. The same thing happened with Fatal Attraction due to test screenings.
Oh, I see. Oh, for the end.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. I thought that was always the plan.
No.
Oh, wow.
In the original one, he ends up being framed for her murder and then is arrested by the police.
But then she doesn't die.
No, she does die. She kills herself and makes it look like murder.
Oh, I see. Whereas instead of him killing her, or like
Yeah.
the wife killing her. But yeah, Macaulay Culkin as well in this.
Macaulay Culkin's in this.
Indeed, he plays his son. And he was probably the most famous person in that movie because
Probably.
Tim Robbins wasn't that famous back then.
So, we'll give it a watch and let you know what we thought of it. Well, I know what you think of it, but, I've not seen it, so...
I haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe I won't like it anymore, but I doubt it very much.
Okay, we'll see. Right, well, okay. Before we go any further,
Yes.
we're going to spoil everything, so be aware of that. Watch it before you watch this. Did it hold up?
Yeah, it's a bit slow because we're used to like really fast-paced stuff. But the story, the acting, and then it's just so clever. Again, maybe you didn't get everything, but because I've watched it like 4 or 5 times after that, I look for the clues and stuff so I can guide you through some of the stuff. But so tell me what you understood.
Well, the military were performing experiments on them, and as a result, they all decapitated each other.
Yeah,
And he
but
got
like,
in battle.
so the film itself, like his life in New York and all that kind of stuff.
I guess that's just him imagining stuff before he's died.
So yeah, so in fact, the movie is all in real time. He gets injured at the beginning and he dies at the end. And everything we see is whenever he goes unconscious in real life. The only bit of real life is Vietnam.
Okay.
Everything we see is when he falls asleep or like faints.
Not even stuff
He imagines.
before, like him with the kid and things.
Oh yeah, I mean anything that's before the war, that's just memories.
Okay, right.
But anything after the war, none of this exists. He never came back from the war. He died at the war. He literally died an hour and a half after the beginning of the movie, or 2 hours after the beginning of the movie.
Right, okay.
It's all in real time. So when you watch it again, you realize that, you see him at the war, he kind of sees something, and then he falls asleep again, and he goes back to New York, and then he falls asleep again, and then eventually he dies on the operating table.
Yeah.
He never went home. Everything is New York is completely imagined. And in fact, he's going through the 7 gates of hell. So he's literally going through purgatory and all these kind of things. So
Okay,
that's
I
where
was
we
going to
get
use
all
the word
clues.
purgatory,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel like it was...
No, that's exactly what it is. So,
Right,
but
okay.
like he's researching demonology and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And there's a bit, maybe I was out of the room, but there's one bit that's really, I noticed it the second time I watched it, when they're in somebody's flat, I can't remember whose, there's a shot on the inside of a drawer that gets shut as soon as it gets looked at, And the book in there is the Seven Gates of Hell. So it's like a big clue.
Right.
So
okay.
Jezebel is the temptress, so she's part of like their job.
Oh, yeah,
She's
yeah.
tempting him. And the fact that
Makes sense.
his son's called Gabe even before the war, I guess, but the fact that he's called Gabriel and it's the name of an archangel
Yeah.
and he takes him to heaven at the end, got a very apt name to
right,
it.
That's what was going on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Danny Aiello is his guardian angel. He's in danger of going to hell because he doesn't want to let go. And Danny Aiello keeps putting him back. So when he goes in the hospital, that is hell.
Mm.
I tried to research some more demonology because I'm sure there's like clues everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the underground with the demons, that's all like the boats. Like it's all got some Greek stuff in it, like the Styx ferrying the dead souls to hell.
Oh, in the train you mean?
Yeah, the trains,
Oh, okay.
Although Dante kind of mixed up Greek stuff with Christian stuff, because it's all based, all the demonology stuff is based on Hebrew kind of pagan stuff.
Okay.
Some of that filters into the New Testament with like
Okay.
archangels and
Yeah.
bits like this. And then the New Testament, it's only like the Revelations, the
Okay.
Apocalypse and all that kind of stuff, which is very little, but there's a lot of stuff to glean back with all stuff with Lilith and all that. That's in none of the Bibles, but it's in the apocryphal
Yeah.
stuff that's pre-Bible Jewish lore, and the name of like all the archangels who don't look like humans.
Yeah.
That's why you're supposed to like disintegrate or collapse if you ever actually see the real representation,
okay.
because they look so weird and unimaginable
Okay.
that your
yeah,
brain
yeah.
will explode. Same as the gods in Greek mythology. Humans cannot look
Yeah.
upon the real shape of the gods. So when we see the gods, they're in human forms, and it's the same with the angels and the
Okay.
demons and all that kind of stuff.
So there were no medical experiments then?
So there was. Some people have kind of like surmised that the guy who did the drug put a bit of himself in it
Right.
to kind of like, but obviously it's kind of spiritual, and he wanted people who were dying from it to understand why. So yeah, we're supposed to believe, it says at the end, it is about experiments on Vietnam soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why they all killed each other.
Right.
And the guy that tells them about the ladder and everything is probably the real guy that did it. Why he's managing to speak to him while he's dying, again, it's all like spiritual
Right,
stuff.
okay.
So maybe, he put some of himself in the drug and he wanted to like explain while the people were dying. We'll kind of never know. Although the Jacob's Ladder's got nothing to do with any of that. Jacob's Ladder is the descendants of Jacob creating the human race. So because I read about Jacob's Ladder, and the passage in the Bible is like, God showed Jacob the ladder, and as Jacob looked up the ladder, he saw generations of his family becoming the kingdom of earth
Right,
and heaven and
okay.
stuff. So that's what the Jacob ladder is like. At every echelon, there's more and more people.
Mm.
So the ladder represents the spreading of the human race in the Bible. It doesn't really apply to this, except for the fact that it's also like Jewish lore. It's not to do with demonology or anything like that. I've been meaning, but it's so much work, and I was trying to do this before the internet,
Okay.
or at
yeah,
the very
yeah.
beginning of the internet, asking Jeeves about, what are the 7 gates of hell and stuff. So I might do this since I've got a bit of free time the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Go back and actually, now that I've seen it again, and see what the clues actually are. I mean, I know the train, I know Jezebel with the, the monsters, the people with the tails and the demons.
Yeah.
But the actual thing that happens, there must be more definite clues about, the fever and the dancing and some of the stuff like that might be even more pertinent, or maybe it's just
Yeah.
fillers. So yeah, so the first time I saw it, I loved it because the twist, and you kind of like, shit, so this is like he imagined everything, and so then I had to see it again just to make sure, and then you realize that all the real bits, the kind of New York bits, are interspersed with him waking up and falling asleep in Vietnam.
Mm.
And then you kind of, if you pay attention to that, you kind of realize that the movie is that. It's him falling asleep and waking up in Vietnam as he's going to the hospital, as he's in the helicopter. So that's it. So
Yeah.
literally, it's these 2 hours of him being in the jungle and getting bayoneted.
Yeah.
And if that's a verb, I made a verb.
Stabbed
And-
with a bayonet.
Yes. And died when he's in the field hospital. That is what actually happens in real life.
Yeah.
Everything else is imagined or it's a memory.
Yet you didn't get burning.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. So, burning is just weird. It just didn't give you enough clues. And this one, you know, the clues are there.
gave enough clues, I think.
Other people that have watched it still liked it and they didn't actually understand. Anyways, this was way before the Sixth Sense or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we still had a famous little kid, although he was famous before he did this. Macaulay Culkin.
What was he in before this?
My Girl, I think he was already famous by the time he did this.
Oh,
Because I remember, like the first time I saw it, I was like, is that Macaulay Culkin? And then the second time I was like, shit, it actually
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Because again, there was no IMDb there, so
Yeah, I suppose,
you
yeah.
couldn't really like figure it out.
There's the
You had
credits.
to see the credits, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first time I didn't really catch it because it was so
Okay.
engrossed and like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And seeing this, yeah, it's not strictly horror, but seeing this at the cinema, like in the dark for the first time and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, it was really spooky. So especially like the beginning when mind you when he goes down like to the underground,
It's really
hell bits with
creepy.
the bits,
It's very atmospherically shot. I
Yeah.
think the cinematography is really good.
which is like it's Adrian Lyne. It's just like wow.
Yeah.
But maybe his DP was different or something. But
I mean, he took quite a U-turn with this film.
yeah. So it's very kind of not so much film noir, but more like avant-garde. You know, it's got bits of kind of like Scorsese, New York kind of stuff. It has that
Yeah, I
feeling with the
suppose.
smoke and the sweat and the wetness
Yeah.
underneath the bridges and all that. Or French Connection. It's kind of like gritty New York that you saw in like 70s movies.
Yeah, Midnight Cowboys.
Yeah, stuff like that. Which I guess maybe it's a fact that even though we're supposed to think it's in the 80s or 90s, it is actually in the 70s because it's all in his head in like 69 or 71 or whatever he dies.
Right.
So maybe that's why. I don't know if Adrian Lyne is quite that clever, but maybe. Maybe the DP was. But no, it's really well filmed. It's very gritty and atmospheric and all that. When you've got movies like this where you have to think about it, it did reasonably well and it was actually did well with the critics at the time. I don't know what the score is now, but a lot of people was just like, oh, what the hell is this?
Well, I was checking on one of the aggregate sites that I use called Rate Your Music, and it was in the top 10 for 1990. So.
Oh wow, okay. Again, I don't think it did a huge amount of money, but it was when I went to see it, it was kind of popular or whatever, but I don't think it became like a huge hit and probably made its money back, but it mostly stayed as a kind of something remarkable more than like a big blockbuster. But again, it's kind of horror-y, but it wasn't sold as that at all at the time. It was sold as a psychological thriller. It wasn't a thing for Halloween or whatever else. It was like a movie, the latest psychological thriller, and in the trailer you saw a couple of bits from the train and whatever else, and bits with his colleagues, I think, who kind of what's happening to you and all that. So they're all dead, obviously. So they're all probably also going around all the rings of hell with him.
So what's the whole thing with the conspiracy and them not wanting to say anything, like being silenced?
It might be that they've accepted their fate and they're going to hell or something.
Oh, okay.
Like they just lost contact in there. They're not anymore in the same realm, or he's gone up a level and they've stayed at the other level or something like that.
Right.
Okay. But it's the thing. It's just when you see he definitely dies at the end of that. So everything post that cannot be real. And in fact, most of these people, Ving Rhames and all that, actually dies in the beginning of the movie. So some of them are so clearly dead that it's kind of oh, maybe, they were just badly injured or something like that. But in fact, no, they're all dead. They all died before him. So he's obviously visiting them in their realm because, he put a big fight. So he's literally the last one to be alive out of all these people. So if anybody wants to do some research, or maybe someone knows, in fact, about the 7 Gates of Hell or the Rings of Hell or Dante's Divine Comedy and stuff. So yeah, so that's like, it's a much better version of the Seven Gates of Hell with, it was Julie Delpy, wasn't it? And what's his name? Amber Heard's husband.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
No, it's called The Ninth Gate or something. But yeah, they made a remake of this in 2019.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, yeah.
But it's all
But
kind
this
of
time
like,
it's in Afghanistan or something.
right. And it's all like very average TV actors.
It's
from, like,
got
Grey's
really,
Anatomy.
really bad reviews.
I mean, the main guy in it is okay, but again, he's like mostly TV fare.
Right, yeah.
When they want like a good actor on TV, they usually get that guy. But the guy after that, the second one in the thing, is a guy from Grey's Anatomy who's fine in Grey's Anatomy, but everything else I've seen him, he's awful. Whereas in this movie, you had like everyone that will be in everything else on TV and movies for the rest of the 90s. Including then, as I was saying, Danny Aiello.
Mm-hmm.
This was like his second or third movie.
What, Jacob's Ladder?
Yeah. Like he was already famous because he'd done a couple of movies, and the first movie that he made, everything in the news was about the fact that he one day woke up, he was unemployed, everything else, and was like, what is there like adverts for in the papers? And then he ended up looking at the trade papers for like cinema, and he was like, oh, there's loads of auditions for actors, so there must be jobs in acting. And he literally just went for an audition.
Wow.
And I don't think he had an agent or anything like that.
Wow.
And then suddenly he's got these huge parts in like big blockbusters for like 10 years. And then after that he did like some TV and stuff. But he kept working. But literally, like I remember watching an interview and said, yeah, I was unemployed, I had nothing else to do. And there was loads of auditions going on in New York. So I just went for an audition. And the next one after this was Leon.
Oh, he's in Leon.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy that keeps all his money. He's the mafia boss that gives him the jobs.
I haven't seen that
So
in
that's him.
years.
I mean, obviously, he always plays like some Italian American. Yeah, even the chemist's been in everything.
Yeah. We
Um,
were talking about that.
yeah, Elizabeth Pena has been in a few things. She's dead. It's
Lizzie's
very
dead.
sad. Yeah. But yeah, another Elizabeth dead, but that was quite a while back. Died at my age, so it's always spooky when I see people dying at my age. Yeah, so like quite a cast at the time who were obviously cost nothing because none of them were famous.
Yeah.
Even Tim Robbins had done like a couple of things, but I can't even
well,
remember what he did before.
Well, he's in Top Gun.
Oh yeah,
Watched
of
that
course, yeah,
together
that's
on
it.
the
But he's
channel,
just like, but it's just like a tiny part in that.
He's very good in this. Like.
Oh yeah, I mean, Tim Robbins is pretty much good in everything.
Although the same
About
guy who
Mexican
wrote
name.
this also wrote Ghost.
Ghost, the one with Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, and Demi Moore.
Demi Moore and all that. Oh, I see. Wow. So he's very much into his otherworldly stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Not quite as subtle in Ghost. He probably wanted to do that. The different types of ghosts and which hell they come from. They probably said, no. We just want a ghost shagging over a pottery wheel. That'll do. But I could add this. No. Oh yeah, and the main clue is the fortune teller saying, according to this, you're already dead.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I
Strictly speaking, he's not. So that's the thing, that if you were going to ask me at any point in the movie, is he dead then? I honestly could have said no. Because throughout the whole movie, he's still alive. It's just he's not in New York. He's on a hospital bed in an army camp. But like, he is still alive all the way through the movies. He's just not doing what we see him do. So if you're watching it with someone and they say, oh, I bet he's dead, you can honestly say, no, right now he's not dead.
You can't say right now. At this moment in time, he's not dead.
That's it.
So what do you mean? Well, you see him all the way till the end of his life.
That's it. You can say that. So there you go. And you wouldn't be lying. So that's that. And yeah, so at the time it was, everybody wanted to see it and everything else. It just didn't become like a huge thing. There was a lot of advertising for it. I remember the posters everywhere and everything else. So, it definitely left its mark. But yeah, after that, it stayed in the zeitgeist as a kind of like weird psychological thing that was really interesting. But
yeah,
it's not the kind of thing that, ooh, let's get Jacob's Ladder on video for for a movie night with a pizza. Unless you're really into those kind of things. So there we go.
So scores?
8.5.
8.5. Okay. I'm
It's
kind of
so
nearing
well made.
towards 7 to 7.5.
both Top Guns are 7.5s for me, and I think they're amazing. But this has got more
Wait,
depth.
hold on.
And-
The first Top Gun is the same rating as the second one.
Yeah. They're really good, fun action movies, but I don't think
the second one is
The second,
much better.
it's got more like money thrown at him, and the the visuals are better, or whatever. But as far as like
The story,
movies
just
are-
everything, like the story, the acting, the aerial sequences, everything is better.
from a technical point of view, yes, but I got as engaged in the first one as I got in the second one.
I don't know. The first one's really cheesy. The second one isn't. I don't think.
I think the second one's just as cheesy. It's
Ah.
just I don't mind cheesy, but they're both like cheesy action movies.
Although it does have that whistling.
But we're not talking about Top Gun. But to me, this is like a level above. Like the cinematography is very well studied.
Yeah.
It's got loads. It's like it's packing so much into the
Yeah,
script and
definitely.
stuff. So yeah, no, I think it's like it's a really really good movie.
I mean, the acting is across the board pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I like the chemistry between Robbins
Yeah.
and Pena. Like,
Yeah, you
you
really buy it.
really buy their relationship.
And she is very good. She
Yeah, no,
flies off the
really
handle
terrific,
and then
yeah.
being caring and stuff. So yeah, no, so it's up there for me.
So that was mostly Terry's because most of what he was talking like I didn't really have much more to add, to be perfectly honest.
But again, it took me years
But
to
his
kind of
opinion,
get all
yeah.
this. But those were my opinions, but that was not my opinions, like this stuff.
No. But we heard your take on it and everything like that. Less so mine, but
If you
I
only
really
see
don't
it-
have much to add.
Yeah, if you only
so-
see it once, there isn't a huge amount.
I suppose.
It took
No,
me a long
maybe it would improve upon multiple watchings. My opinion on it, but
I mean, it's still a good movie. It's just like,
Yeah.
suddenly you get more and more because suddenly you know what you're looking for.
yeah.
And you're not just following the plot, and then you're remembering, and you're like, that's why that's there. That's why that's
Yeah.
there.
Oh, I got that watching Burning the second time.
There you go.
Which I know you won't do, but
No.
So if you've seen Jacob's Ladder, let us know what you thought of it in the comments. You can also follow either of us on Letterboxd. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you all very soon. Have a happy Halloween.
Bye.
I'll try and move it back down and see. Okay, that works fine then. So continuing our journey through horror cinema, I thought I'd check out one of the very few, oh fuck's sake,